I just want to say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I can tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
What a day. 888-659-3727. We are live. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I'm going to try to open my laptop, Joe. I'm going to turn off my mic. Say hello to the nice people out there on YouTube.
Hello, nice people. How are you?
See?
You got your volume up, by the way. Hey, everyone, thanks for holding out. Those are the real fans. I tell you, you're here an hour later waiting for us to go on. God bless you. That's fantastic. Technical difficulties, but we're here. We made it work.
Look, we can no
My
longer
sound is
talk
working
about
great.
the
Thank
technical
God.
difficulties. Every show, if you go back for years, every show, oh, sorry we were late. Sorry for the technical difficulties. No more. You go on.
But we're lying.
You go on.
It's because
cold.
we're just late. It's just because we're late. We got to get our water. We got to go to the bathroom. We're doing whatever. And then we pull the trigger.
Guys, listen, welcome to the
But this
broadcast.
time it's real.
Well, it's good to be live here. It's good to be alive, and it's good to be here doing the show. Kind of taking a lot of days off in the summer. I'm probably not going to do many more shows in August, but you could always catch me on Instagram and Joe on Instagram. And Joe's now doing the main event again, so you can catch Joe doing his live show. Get it? But it's not that I don't want to do the show, but I need some time off. It's summer. Sometimes on Fridays I'm day drinking. I may not be able to make the program.
Even though we want him to when he is day drinking.
I mean, it happens.
I almost did today. I almost got beer instead of water for when we finally went live.
There's nothing
I said,
wrong with
you
that.
know what? Not yet. Not yet.
We're
not back to that show yet.
I have some of the most fun doing this broadcast when I'm drinking over the years.
I did bring back some good mezcal from Mexico.
Very nice.
Great time in Mexico, though. Cabo was hot, 90 to 95 degrees every day, humid, but fantastic. Very nice. Very nice time. That was one of the weeks that I was away from the show, people, in case you're wondering.
What is Todd saying?
Who? Todd? Todd to Kobren.
Was he on the
I think
line?
Korean dating.
I didn't see anything.
Huh?
I didn't see anybody in the line. Anyway, 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. God, this world is so fucking disturbing. We are live doing the Bald Truth. Feel free to call in if you have any questions or concerns about anything and everything hair loss. I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, author of the most read books on the subject of the prevention of and treatment of hair loss, believe it or not. It's probably because no one's really publishing or having any books sold or published anymore on the subject, and it's because of the internet at this stage. The vast majority of information is... Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. Sunshine here. No, it's because it's a good book.
Well, yeah, listen, in its time, it was cutting edge. It was the go-to volume. There's no doubt about it. It made me it made people in the industry very mad. A lot of enemies.
Yeah.
I exposed the truth. But speaking about that, I saw a video of this kid who, and this is something you need to watch out for, people, when you're watching anything online. Anytime someone comes out who's doing YouTube, and then at the end talks about a particular product and starts the video with, "This is what the hair loss industry doesn't want you to know." That's a red flag, brother.
Those are the worst. Those are the worst. It's like there's this secret cabal of people behind the scenes. Oh, we can't let this get out. We'll lose lots of money if they find this one out. terrible. And what's sad is a lot of people fall for it. Ooh, what don't they want me to know?
We make the payments prior to having to kick somebody out, brother. That's how it works. The money is on the nightstand. Guys, give us a call, 888-659-3727. Sorry for the slow start. But if you're new to the broadcast, listen, we are here to tell you the truth about this effed up industry. I don't have the solution for your hair loss. Sorry. All you young kids out there who are bugging me about the solution, who watch all of my videos on Instagram and now on TikTok, believe it or not. If someone is offering you a solution, find another account. And then if that account is offering you a solution, go to another account. Because there is no solution. There are a handful of medications, maybe a couple of natural products that can help to some degree. Surgery, most of it that sucks. And right now, that's it. My goal is to guide you safely, navigate you through this effed up industry. Right here. And help you guys save time, money, and the real possibility of being disfigured. When I put the stats out there that 2/3 of men by the age of 35 are dealing with hair loss, that's real. But what's even scarier is the same amount, 7 out of 10 hair transplant patients in today's market who contact us are range from being dissatisfied to disfigured. And a lot of these dissatisfied patients, they end up getting a touch-up or second, third surgery, and within 5 years, they're disfigured. It's a slow, agonizing disfigurement. They don't even realize it's happening to them. That's it. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Kenny from New York.
Kenny, what's happening, brother?
Hey, Kenny.
Hey, I called last time just to ask a few questions, and I appreciate you guys coming on.
I recognize you.
No, okay, yeah, I've been calling for such a long time.
Yeah,
but no, you guys are great. I love everything that you do, and I always appreciate when you come on the show and
how's my hair, Kenny?
Offer these services. Oh, your hair looks great.
Thank you.
I see it on YouTube now. It looks really good.
Thank you.
I actually thought it looked fuller today than it did last time.
I worked on it
I don't
today. I did a whole serious blow dry today. I had some time.
Okay, yeah, no, it's a big difference.
Thank you. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, go ahead.
It's a big difference. Now it looks good.
Now I'm going to be looking at every video like, what the fuck is Kenny talking about?
Now it looks good.
No, it looks great.
Thank you.
It does. It looks great. I know how it feels too when the hair you get concerned and everything. But I had called last time because I was saying I was just getting a little bit of inflammation on the scalp, some dandruff and stuff, and I felt like maybe I was losing ground. Like I said, I've been on name brand Propecia for going to be I think it's 11 years now, and I've pretty much maintained for. Pretty much all those years.
So wait a second. I don't mean to stop you or interrupt you, but are you telling me that you've been on Propecia for 11 years, you don't have prostate cancer, and you can still have sex?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, nothing wrong down there. I have a girlfriend, and it's all good.
Well, yeah. And sadly, what I'm seeing more and more. I mean, it's just I'm on TikTok now. I don't know how great that is for my mental health, but I mean, every kid swears they have post-finasteride syndrome. Everyone, and I'm talking about after they drop the pill, they take it for a week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got on it pretty slowly. I did, I took Joe's advice. I did once a week for a month. And then twice a week the second month, 3 times a week, third month, and then after that I just did it every day. But for me, I just take 1 milligram. So, but because I felt like maybe more recently I was losing ground, it could also be I had a little bit of a stressful event 3 months ago. So shedding right now has kind of been on and off. Some days I'll shed a lot, and then some days I'm not really shedding. But I went to the dermatologist, and he saw that, my scalp was a little red from, I guess, dandruff, what have you. But he prescribed, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like, it's not a steroid, I don't think. It's like Zorive or something like that, but it's a foam, and it's supposed to, like, control some inflammation of the scalp.
I never heard. You may be mispronouncing it.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. No, it's Zoryve.
Voryev. Voryev.
And what does it say it is?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
I think it's a new.
What's the active ingredient?
It's just. The active ingredient is. I'm not even sure. I actually didn't.
Listen, guys, this is a radio show. What's with the dead air? Come on, let's make this happen.
But anyway, but my second question was, I mentioned to him about that I might be losing a little bit of ground with my hair loss, and he had said what he could do is he could prescribe me dutasteride, which kind of surprised me because I know that's a much stronger, more potent form of finasteride. But I just want to know what your thoughts on that is. And then I also asked something about oral minoxidil, which he also prescribed. But I'm not too sure if I'd want to take oral minoxidil just because I know it could cause like swelling, like some water retention, and things like that. So I just want everybody, both your opinions on that.
It can also cause pericardial effusion. Is that how you pronounce it? Effusion? In some people, it's very rare. Water around the heart. You're an older guy now, right?
Yeah, he mentioned
you're
that
in your
too.
30s, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be 34 next month.
Okay, well, you're not old. You're still youngish, but you're getting there. And listen, I think I've seen some incredible results. Joe has talked about this on the main event, and he's seen some incredible results. But you've been doing so well on finasteride for such a long time. My go-to advice is always to talk to your doctor about titrating the dosage of finasteride as opposed to jumping to dutasteride right away or jumping on oral minoxidil, because it's very possible most people will go through it could be a significant shed when they jump on oral minoxidil. So,
or switch from finasteride to dutasteride.
That's a good point, Joe. Yeah. So to me, why not consider upping your dosage? And again, I'm not a doctor, but talking to your doctor about upping your dosage of something you've been on for a very long time and seeing if that dose change could potentially keep things at bay for, a few more years.
Yeah,
you've been sticking with the same source, right? Like it's not some sort of generic, or if it's generic, it hasn't changed the generic, or it's name brand. Like you haven't changed anything about how you're sourcing your finasteride.
No, it's always been the name brand version for 11 years, and I've been diligent about taking it every day. The only thing is there have been periods, over the course of 11 years where I might have skipped like 2 or 3 days, but to me, I just thought I've been taking the drug for so long. It's probably in my body. I don't think skipping, 4 days is going to matter too much.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter at all. You can skip 2 weeks and you're not going to be back at baseline.
Yeah, but the dutasteride I do know is stronger, and I wasn't thinking about just jumping right on it. I was considering on doing it maybe once a week on like a Friday, because I know the drug has a much longer half-life. But the only problem is that the name brand version of dutasteride, it's very expensive. I think it's like $1,300. But
that may change soon. Actually, it really depends on what happens with
that's right.
what Trump is trying to accomplish.
The pharmaceutical
I don't know.
bill or what,
Oh,
executive
make
order.
it like less expensive.
Well, essentially, what they want to do is he wants America to essentially pay either
Less.
pay the same price that Europeans are, and let them pick up the rest of the tab.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is for mostly about brand name products and anything that's connected to Medicare. So, I mean, it's very possible, and I kind of think he's going to make that happen, or this administration is going to make that happen, that this is going to be a more normally priced brand name where you may be able to get it for, $250.
Yeah, well, that's the price I'm finding on like Canadian pharmacies online.
Yeah.
That I don't know, Joe, if you're familiar with that. I don't know if you've heard of like Canadian Pharmacy World or whatever. They have a few name brand products that are a lot less.
Yeah.
I don't bother with the online stuff.
You can get it for a lot less.
I don't bother with the online stuff because I just drive down the street to my pharmacy, which is in Canada. So, like my
I just
meds
figured
are cheap anyway.
You had an opinion on it.
I don't know anything about it. I pay zero attention to the online stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I would say that, I mean, getting drugs from Canadian online pharmacies has been a thing for decades. I don't know what the logistics are at this point. It used to be very easy, but if you can still do it and it's legit pharmacy and you're getting brand name, then I don't see why not. You have to look up the reputation of that particular website. And, if you have access to actually being able to call the pharmacy, that could be helpful. But 100%. And I do think within the next few months, these drugs are going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay. Because even like, I know like minoxidil, oral minoxidil, like from what I've seen online, it seems like that's been a really good option too. But like I said, the only thing was like water retention, which the doctor explained, and he said it is very rare. But for me, like, I know you've mentioned name brand before, but the name brand version of that oral minoxidil is no longer sold in the U.S.
You can't get it here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen.
Yeah, Loniton.
Your doctor is not completely accurate when he says that it's rare. It happens more often than not, to be honest with you, and usually it's transient. And it could be periorbital edema. It could be full, facial edema, ankle edema. But that could be mitigated with diet. Most people don't make any changes to their diet. So when you first get on, if you decide to take the drug, one thing you want to do is to avoid any excess water retention. Keep your carbs really low. You really want to stay away from extra salt for a while. And, slowly get back to a normal diet within, 2 or 3 weeks of starting the drug. And that could avoid a lot of the water retention. You may still get some, but it probably won't be that noticeable. No one really does that.
Because that is a concern that I have too. Like I do try and watch what I eat, but I do eat chips and I go out to eat. So like these are going to have a lot of salt in them. So
you can't not do that for a week and a half.
No, I can, but you would have to continue doing it while you're on the drug. No.
Once your body adjusts to the medication, you're not going to retain as much water. So for 99.9% of people who suffer with this adverse side effect, it's transient. What does that mean? That means it's short-lived. It happens as your body adjusts to the drug.
Okay.
So I've known people on the drug who had severe periorbital, just facial edema, where it was like people are like, "What happened to this person?" And they didn't change their diet; they continued to drink whatever it is, and it went away. But most people don't think about this in advance to taking the drug. They don't. Their doctors don't tell them. They're like, "Yeah, this could happen. It's rare." But if they told them, "Listen, if you really cut carbs from your diet, it's very difficult for your body to retain water, for your tissues to retain water. So eat mostly protein, lower your salt intake, and you're going to possibly retain some water still, but it's unlikely. I mean, it would have to be kind of drawn from your tissues and from your muscle, and the drug's not going to do that.
Yeah. But then what about, because it seems like that type of medication is only prescribed generic here in the U.S. So what would be,
You just have to
like,
cross your fingers and hope.
the
I mean, it's
same
all
generic?
compounded.
Yep.
You know, it's all
Yeah.
compounded. I mean,
So
there are
basically from the
generic
same-
tablets, but for the most part, these low doses are compounded into a capsule form, and sometimes they're pressed into pills. And there's companies out there that are selling it, online. I probably wouldn't go to a telehealth company to get it. Work with your doctor,
Oh,
see
you're
if they
talking
have a compounding pharmacy that they trust.
Okay. So just, even though it's a generic, it would be something that they'd trust through a compound pharmacy, basically.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Most doctors don't know shit when it comes to this stuff. That's just the way that it is.
Right.
I have been so disappointed in my life, and especially in my older life, when you're concerned, like maybe you're going to need a doctor. You're going to need help at some point. You got to put your life in these people's hands and help. Help guide you to make decisions. It's kind of like going online, going on TikTok, and realizing, these are a jury of your peers. It's frightening.
I haven't thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh my gosh.
that's hilarious.
That's what I
That is
think.
true. Jeez.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
listen, there are more knowledgeable physicians. Physicians who understand that not all generics are created equal. Physicians who work more closely with their compounding pharmacy to know where these products and drugs are being sourced, to know whether or not there's some consistency in their sourcing. So there are doctors who do know what they're doing, but in general, most who just write a script have no idea where this stuff is coming from, and they're like like a lot of pharmacists who believe all these generics are created equal. At least they say they believe that. I think most
They believe
pharmacists,
that the word bioequivalency equivalency actually means something.
yeah, I
when
think
it doesn't.
most pharmacists know, but they just can't say anything.
Yeah, well, I think that would affect their business too, to some degree. Also, if they were promoting something that was name brand that's more expensive, I don't know.
Well, it's not even about
But,
promoting it. It's just about, they won't even admit that there are, not all generics are the same. Or they won't tell you if they switch a generic out on you. You may see it on your bottle. Like, wait a second, this looks like it's the same drug but a different company. And then if you ask them, they'll say, well, it's all the same. But it's not. It's not all the same, and they know it.
Yeah, because like I said, I mentioned because when he was willing to recommend dutasteride, he had no problem with it. I didn't even bring it up. He was actually the one who brought it up, so it kind of surprised me. Because at first I said, do you think I should maybe get on a higher dose of Propecia? Because if I get on like something like Proscar and I cut it into 4s, that's like 1.25. Maybe that extra 0.25 every day will be enough for me, But he was saying that if you feel like you're losing ground, then dutasteride would be the next option. So, but if anything, I would probably just do it once a week, just because I know the drug has a much longer half-life and it's much stronger. But have you heard anything about people getting on dutasteride? I know it's like very similar to finasteride. I think they both have the same element in it, right? It's another form of finasteride, or
No.
No,
not?
it's
I'm
not.
not sure.
No.
It's more of a broad 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, right, Joe? That Joe wants to speak. I'm
different
speaking
molecule.
over. So yeah,
it's a different molecule
Yeah.
that fights both types of DHT, type 1 and type 2,
and type 3 actually.
eliminating roughly 80 some odd percent as opposed to 60 some odd percent with type 2, which is what finasteride blocks. And you look at the base of the word finasteride and then dutasteride. Dutasteride, it's fighting both of those enzymes, right? So it takes a different kind of molecule to do that. So it has a similar outcome, but it's not a similar medication as far as its molecular makeup.
Okay.
So you're essentially putting
All
a completely different drug into your body that has a much longer half-life in the weeks as opposed to in the hours. And if you do have adverse side effects, it's going to take time once you get off the drug to recover. It could take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on the person. But there are plenty of guys who will add one dose once a week with their finasteride, and they're covering all bases. You have to realize that because it has such a long half-life, even a single dose is going to it's going to affect 5-alpha reductase type 1, and you're still going to get that overall lowering effect of your DHT. So I don't even think it's ever needed to take dutasteride every day if someone was on the drug. I would say in general,
Right.
You might want to load up on it if you want, and again, I'm not a doctor, but I would still say at the most someone should take it maybe once or twice a week, even if they weren't taking finasteride.
Yeah, because I wasn't planning on getting off of finasteride anyway, because I've been taking it for so long. To me, it just didn't make any sense, and I've benefited from it all these years. But I figured if I added dutasteride once a week, maybe that could help a little bit, and allow me to at least.
It's funny about you, and I love you. You're a great caller, but the way you ask questions is you're trying to get it out of us to give you permission to do this shit.
No.
A little bit.
No, because I want your opinion on it, just on and what you've heard from other people, and like I said, I went to the dermatologist and I got advice from him, but I don't know him.
But a little bit. You want our permission just a little bit. You
admit it. Come on.
Go for it.
Come on. Admit it.
No. Well, it's funny too, because after I came back, I told my girlfriend, I was like, he prescribed these things, and she was saying, make sure you call the show and ask them what they feel about this. So it's just,
it's funny.
Your opinion's valued here. That's why.
No, I appreciate that.
I'll give you my opinion on this. Based on what you've been telling us so far, I agree that upping your dosage of finasteride is what I would do. I was about to say what I think you should do, but it's what I would do. And I have used dutasteride in the past, and it was when the excitement for dutasteride was first kicking in back in around 2006. The clinic I was working at was basically taking the lead on prescribing dutasteride
and he
as an
into
alternative to finasteride, and I turned into just this creature that you wouldn't recognize. You want to talk about water retention? Yeah, forget about man.
Dude, look at some of my old videos.
Minoxidil's
when I was drinking more heavily. Holy cow! Like a different human.
Minoxidil's got nothing on this, at least for me. I was bloated and I didn't realize it, because I was taking it for 2 years and it was a slow process. But yeah, I look back at some videos I made back then, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's before I was on this show, just videos I was making for the clinic. It's like, wow, I was pretty plump, and I wasn't a fat guy. I wasn't overweight. There was nothing. I was fairly lean. It's just I had water retention or something was going on, and I got off of it, went back on finasteride, and no issues.
So you were taking it every day?
It is a different. Yeah. I was just I quit finasteride. I do as I say, not as I do. I quit finasteride cold turkey, switched over to dutasteride, and it is, forget the side effects. The benefits were nil. I had no benefit that I could tell from the medication, and that's why I initially stopped taking it and went back to finasteride, because I thought this is a waste of money. And then, in retrospect, looking back later on at my old videos, that's when I was like, shit, I was fuller in my face for some reason. I didn't know why. And then it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So, no benefits, some side effects that were
Tillman
just cosmetic
in the field for a while.
Moon face.
Oh man.
And yeah, I mean, I've gone up and down with finasteride, just experimenting and stuff. And for me, the dosage doesn't really matter above 1 milligram, and a lot of people realize that. But other people do have benefits. It is dose dependent for most people, and for me, 1 to 2.5 mg a day is great. Sometimes I don't take it that often. I'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But point being, don't switch the medication. Just up the dosage of what you've got, because it's obviously working to some degree. Give it a chance to work better with more before you switch to something else entirely. Even if you're integrating it into your existing regimen, stick with what you know and just make it more of what you know to start. I'm not a doctor, but that's my opinion.
Look, I am trying to figure out what my next move is. And one doctor suggested that I add dutasteride into the mix. Another one is talking to me about low-dose oral minoxidil. I'm considering using another type of vasodilator, which is not yet used for hair loss, but will unlikely cause a shed, but will have minimal hair growth effects compared to minoxidil, but actually may have some effects as far as inflammation and slowing or reversing some fibrosis that happens as you get older. Your scalp basically just becomes old. That's what happens. You're unable to hold the hair follicles like you used to. It becomes more fibrotic just from living. So that's why older guys have more retrograde alopecia, or senescent alopecia starts to set in. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do to kind of maintain what I have right now. And I'm not jumping on anything new, like anything serious like dutasteride at this point, even though a lot of guys who've been on medication as long as I have, who's saved as much hair as I have, who's 60 years old, would say, yeah, screw it, why not? I've been on this medication for all this time, because I know what could happen. The slightest switch could trigger an effluvium that I don't feel like dealing with. So I've upped my dosage of finasteride. So right now I take a 5 milligram dose every third day. So 2 days on, 1 day off. And I'm trying to see what happens there. Now, luckily, I'm not actively going through an effluvium. I don't see a lot of hair coming out, but my hair is also finer than it used to be, especially in the back. And I keep it shorter in the back than I used to. So I may not be seeing as much. But there's some changes. Like if I don't wash my hair every day, just from laying on the pillow, waking up in the morning, I could see through to my scalp. It's parted. The part's much wider. Now, when I wash my hair and blow dry it and comb it, it looks like pretty full. Like I'm very lucky. I'd be ecstatic if I can keep this for another 5 years. So our point to you is don't F with something you don't have to. You can incrementally up your dosage. Slowly, really take a look at things and see how you're doing before you jump to the next level, because you may never need to, or at least not for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that too. Like I said, I think last time on the call, I was gonna try and get a prescription for ProScar and just cut that into 4s, just because it'll be a little bit cheaper to do than just buying Propecia. So, and it's the same drug, so I don't think I would really go through any difference, really.
See, just the way you asked that question, you want me to say, no, you'll be fine.
No. I already know this. Yeah, we already did. No, but yes, but so that's what I'm probably going to end up doing, because I think because this is I've been very fortunate. I've had I've been good for 11 years on this now. So yeah, it's just it sucks. So when you start to see things change a little bit,
tell me about it. Like, I've been balding for 40 years. I've been holding on to every hair that I possibly can. And the thing is, when you're dealing with a protracted issue, a lot of guys, I envy them. They see it, they shave their head, they move on. That's it. They beat it. But if you're able to save some hair, then you're just like, you're constantly on this treadmill, hamster wheel, trying to keep things somehow keep things together. So anytime there's a slight change, or if you go through a little bit of a shed, It causes anxiety. You're like, shit, is this it? And as the years progress, you're like, oh, okay, I've gotten to this point where it looks like I have a decent head of hair. I mean, it's a sham, but it looks like it. Is this the end? Have I hit the wall? And then there's more anxiety. I've been dealing with this for a long time. It sucks. I envy those guys. I envy Harry from Bald Cafe who said, F it, man. And, I mean, he went pretty quickly, so he really had no choice, I guess. Or maybe he did. But he would have made, sadly, he may have made a bad choice, like having surgery early. He made the right choice for him, and he's really empowering a lot of guys, and I envy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something I've tried avoiding any surgery just because, you know, I first noticed it like I think a month before my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
And I just thought if I, like, God forbid if I get it, the surgery, and then it keeps going, and then I'm stuck with, you know, with the outcome of that
what
at
happens.
a young age, especially, you know. So I just was like, I just got to, you know, try and maintain it. And I've been fortunate enough to have where I'm almost, you know, 34 now. You know, if I could, maybe I would consider a surgery at like 50, 55, you know, maybe.
Now, let's hope you don't need
are.
surgery by that. You know, hopefully there'll be some other options. But
I know. That's
I will tell you
thing,
this.
Yeah.
Every young kid, not some, not a percentage, every young kid under the age of 25 who has flown overseas to have a hair transplant is effed. It's not maybe they're effed. It's very unlikely, especially at that age, that they're going to be able to maintain their hair. Especially, well, first of all, half these kids refuse to take medication, so they're screwed. They think they fixed their hair loss. I was in contact with this young kid from the UK, a bodybuilder. He's not taking any medication. He went to Turkey. He's happy with his hair. That's great. And I had to tell him, listen, if you want to keep that, you have to get on meds. That's it. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Or live with the consequences, which is a short-term, you know, bump in his confidence. And in the end, he's just going to have a scarred scalp. He's going to try to shave his head. It's going to be scar tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these videos, and it looks good. You know, it really does. It looks really good. But at that age, I don't know. It's young. You don't know what's going to happen 10 years from then, and you know, it's something
not even
you
10
really
years.
have to think about.
I'm telling you, listen. They all have confirmation bias. I get it. I'd be angry too, but I'm just like, don't shoot the messenger, people. Just because you made this mistake, don't let other people make the mistake. Stay quiet. Think I'm an idiot, you know, in privacy. You don't need to battle me on Instagram and on TikTok about why I'm wrong about this. I don't want to be right about it. I would love everyone to be able to just go overseas, get a cheap hair transplant, and live the rest of their lives happy. But that's not what's going to happen. I don't need a crystal ball. I prefer
it be a cheap hair transplant here.
Oh, anywhere. Anywhere. Oh, you said I prefer? Okay. Over my head. I missed it.
Yes.
But
it's okay.
It's bad. It's really bad. You made the right decision. You're young. You're on medication. You're doing well. So right now it's your next step. And that is, let's see where how far you can kind of hold your ground without going all in with these other medications.
Something new. Yeah.
And kind of keeping it in your back pocket, which is going to be incredibly valuable for you. All right, brother?
Right. No, definitely.
I think you've taken up enough of my time.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dude, it's always great hearing from you. Say hi to your girlfriend. Take care. Good luck.
Oh, yeah,
see you, buddy.
Definitely.
Thanks for calling.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.
888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. A little hoarse today. You know,
are you done talking? Because I'm done listening.
Throat cancer. That's the first thing that hits me in my mind. I'm hoarse. It can't just be like you have post-nasal drip. My mind goes right to the throat cancer. Let's see who this is.
Spoken like a true hypochondriac.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be a recovering hypochondriac. I'm not fully recovered. Let's see. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
James, Silicon Valley, California.
James from Silicon
Hello,
Valley,
James.
California. What's happening?
How you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I've been
Good.
On,
How are you?
Good. Been on Propecia 30 years, name brand. Kind of in Spencer's scenario here, like wondering what's next. Just held really well on the.
Oh, you're the guy
The crown and the mid-
that writes me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happening, brother?
Yeah. Well, I ordered, got a prescription for dutasteride and wanted to stick with name brand. I was on Avodart probably for 2 years, about 10 years ago, and wanted to try for a child and went off of it, and then kind of did, that didn't work out, so I went back on finasteride. Kind of what Joe did, right? You didn't see a huge difference on Avodart, but it held really well. I didn't have any of the the facial puffiness or anything like that, but definitely less sensitivity downstairs, right? But I'm losing in the frontal third, and it's to my understanding that type 1 is prevalent in the frontal third. I just wanted to know if you guys have researched that as you get older, I'm 58 now, and is type 1 a little bit increased, what they call upregulated as you get older and been on finasteride for as long as we all have?
Yeah,
right?
I
25,
think
30 years.
it's not about it being upregulated just in the frontal third. In general, there seems to be slightly more sensitivity to type 1 for whatever reason in the hair follicles as we get older. I've heard about that. I don't know if that's an actual fact. There's some literature that discusses that. You just never know, really, because you never know who's attached to these studies and why they're being conducted and actually why they're being published. If that makes sense.
Went down the ChatGPT route, and it says, as you get older, type 1 is a little bit more prevalent. You're being upregulated because of the suppression of, type 2 for so long. There are not a lot of studies on long term, I'm talking long term, like you and I, right?
Right.
So,
we
I
are
did
the
order
studies,
Avodart, and we are, yeah. I really appreciate what you guys do. But that being said, I did order Avodart, and I wanted name brand because of I've been on Propecia name brand for such a long time. They want $4,400 in the United States for name brand Avodart.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
It's insane. And again, I
It
do
is.
believe
So
we're going hopefully have similar prices to Canada and to Europe in the coming months. So,
well, I did go through can ship meds with name brand Avodart. It was only like $300, the same as what I pay for Propecia now. But can't understand why 10 years ago I was getting Avodart for basically nothing, right? Because maybe my doctor put it in as
because our there's a lot of reasons, but everyone just blames the pharmaceutical companies for taking advantage of us and
right.
people, but it's really because of the entire system that we're working within. Any company, if they have the opportunity to take advantage of the consumer, it's just the way that it is. It's all based on our regulations. It's pretty infuriating, actually, and let's hope again that changes, and I think that it will in the coming months, and eventually you'll be able to get it in the U.S. for a reasonable price.
And you would never go generic dutasteride, right? There's no way.
I don't know. I don't think that I would, just because I like the consistency, and if I can get my hands on the name brand for a reasonable price, I don't think I'd pay $4,400 for it, and I would try to work with a company that I trusted that made a good generic. And it's not even about.
Well, I did a lot of research. Can ship meds is out of Canada.
Yeah.
And I did get it for $300. So just for you, maybe in the future, and your listeners, it seems like a pretty good source. Seems like they got a good reputation.
They probably do.
Obviously, when I get it in, take it down to the pharmacy and compare it, make sure it's got all the right stuff on it. But yeah, I don't. Joe, you mentioned last time I called, maybe about a year ago, to up the Propecia. I'm on 1 milligram daily.
Joe's not listening.
I don't know. Oh, he's not.
Yeah,
Sorry. I'm actually calling a pharmacy down the street to see how much Avodart costs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
I'm really curious now.
I'll come back to you. What I'm saying is, I just don't think
I'll
upping the Propecia is going to. I don't think upping the Propecia is going to be as effective as I'm going to do the Sinclair deal. I'm going to go once a week. We have a hair transplant surgeon here that you guys well known, I think, with your community, at least before, Sarah Wasserbauer, and she kind of prescribes that to some of her clients as like kind of a second tier. I did get oral minoxidil, couldn't get name brand, as you mentioned earlier, and it just kicked my ass. I got a clean life, took 1.25, and just headaches, cotton mouth, insomnia. It was just fucking miserable.
Well, it's interesting.
So
you wrote that to me. I'm looking something up right now. You wrote that to me on Instagram, and I mean, some people will suffer with these significant side effects, and it's really
wow.
Hold on, what?
$86 for 30 capsules of name brand Avodart.
So if I need it, you could ship it to me.
Are you talking?
Wait
a minute, Joe.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Canada? You're not talking about the U.S.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, here in Vancouver. $86 Canadian, by the way. Obviously, because that's about 60-ish US.
Well, I emailed them with the correct lot number, GlaxoSmith, all the, they said, hey, this is legit. So we'll see when it comes in. I mean, it was almost too good to be true when I found it.
It is. It is. And listen, right now, Trump is really, he's demanding that these pharmaceutical companies give us the exact, I forgot what it's called, but give us the exact same prices, if not better, than what's happening in Canada and Europe. And the prices may be up to some degree in these other countries, but it's going to be shared across the board. And I'm pretty sure these name brand drugs are going to they're going to have to kowtow. It's going to have to happen. And Americans are going to have the same access to these name brands, if they're paying out of pocket for the same types of lower prices as the rest of the world. I mean,
I'll look forward to that.
It's
but
amazing.
I don't give a fuck. I really don't care what it costs. I mean, look, if I knew it was going to work and I knew it was name brand and legit, look, I got my next step is I'm trying once a week, name brand Avodart.
But we're obviously, and you're a person that's obviously in a position who could afford to spend $4,400 a month on a medication that you would be life changing for you if you believed it was a guarantee it worked. And there are people out there who can, and I'm in that position as well. But it's the principle of it, man. It drives me nuts that this is something that's happening in this country. And most people cannot afford it. They're put on really shitty, this is hair loss, really shitty generic medications for like life-changing situations.
Well, you can always buy it at Canada like I did. Even though I can afford it, I still want Canada, $250 expedited shipping. So it's not, that's right in line with Propecia now. You and I are both paying $300 every 90 days on Propecia, right?
No, I don't. I get Proscar, but still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
go
ahead.
If you're not going to hold ground, right, Spencer? If you're not going to hold ground, you're going to go oral minoxidil first before once a week dutasteride. I mean, what's your plan? I can't.
There's another drug that I'm considering that I don't want to talk about yet because I don't want people to run out and start trying it or finding a way to get it. If I decide to take it, I'm going to write about it and maybe talk to the physician who may prescribe it. But it's another vasodilator. It's not. I mean, the side effect profile is much different than low-dose oral minoxidil. I would not get the same burst in growth as I would with minoxidil, but I might be able to maintain my hair as far as the inflammatory aspects and as far as the fibrotic aspects of senescent alopecia. Which
if I was to try,
So you would,
which I'm considering,
is there a risk of is there a risk of a shed?
no, it works by a different mechanism. So that's why I'm considering it.
Yeah.
I may write about it. I kind of figured like I was one of the first. I was the first to be published about my experience using finasteride for hair loss. So, but I would have hated to tell people to use the drug unless I had some experience with it, and I had been on it for years before I wrote about it.
yeah.
So I don't want to really put it out there. But then my next move would probably be like a very low dose, even a lower dose of oral minoxidil. Kind of titrate
Like
on
625.
Yeah, but even titrate on it. Like start, very small dose once or twice a week, and then
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to take my own advice on when I tell people to titrate up onto finasteride that are really worried about the side effects.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that approach with oral minoxidil when I decide to take it, which I'm not sure when it'll be, but I think it's going to be pretty soon.
I thought
I'll
I
do a
thought I
low
was
dose
titrating at
and titrate
1.25.
slowly. Yeah.
What would your
Yeah,
starting
I mean,
dose be?
if you can do it.
0.65?
I don't think I'd go that low. I think I'd do double that. 1.25 ish.
That's what I
in
did.
there.
I started with 1.25. It kicked my ass.
After one
Wow.
dose.
I mean, I live a clean life, right? Live a clean life. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Work out every day. Very sensitive to any changes. And I was like, holy shit.
Well, maybe you should
right?
start drinking.
Yeah, maybe start drinking.
I know it's true. Start drinking. Yeah. You're absolutely right. This is exactly what I was thinking. Like, fuck, I might as well just start getting back into scotch. My God.
I mean, come on. You're
I'm telling
50.
you.
You said you're what, in your 50s?
58.
58.
Dude,
yeah,
time's
58.
ticking, brother. Have a drink.
Jesus, why don't you have one in each hand?
No, and then the facial aging issues with this drug too really kind of concern. As we get older, we're all aging in the face. But I mean, this is kind of does not help. Put it that way.
I don't want to risk aging myself up to 35. So yeah, I probably want to avoid it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Joe,
I mean,
Joe, you guys. I mean, you guys have been around a long time. Neither of you have taken oral minoxidil, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
my reason is not about facial aging and other adverse side effects like even the water of the heart issue on the heart issue. Mine is I don't want to go through a massive shed right now, and then
Exactly.
Joe basically calling me dandelion for a couple of years.
Joe, you had experience with dutasteride. You said you noticed no difference. Now, were you taking? I know you just switched cold turkey from finasteride to dutasteride. Did you notice a shed?
No.
Okay.
No.
And I'm assuming I'm assuming if I take once a week dutasteride and the other 6 Propecia. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. Once a week Avodart and the other 6 days Propecia. Would you expect me to shed or just probably maintain and just suppress a little bit more?
Shedding is absolutely 100% unpredictable. We can't predict who will and who won't. And in a lot of cases, someone like if you were to take over the course of 10 years, if you did this exact change up 3 separate times, the way that you react to it might be different in 3 different ways. Obviously shedding after one try, not shedding at all after the second try, and then halfway shedding, half of what you did the first time when you tried again on the third time. It just depends on where you are in your growth cycle. It depends on your sensitivity at the time.
Have you had experience with some of your listeners and people that you know in the community, doctors, on this once a week protocol? The other 6, Propecia,
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And people seem to be doing pretty well on it. I know one kid now is experimenting. You could check him out online. His name is Tom Gilbanks. He just started using 1 milligram, 5 milligrams, 0.5 milligrams a day. Sorry, Jesus, I can't think. A week of dutasteride. And so far, he hasn't gone through any type of a shed. This is a kid who really brought his hair back. I mean, he was going pretty quickly, and he got on meds early, and he has a pretty good online following now. He's a trusted content creator with the AHLA. So it's interesting to watch him experiment and share what he's doing online. So he's someone you can contact.
Have you done a podcast with this guy or no?
Yeah, we actually we did something on his channel, 2 of them. One did pretty well, one not so great. But yeah, go to Tom Gilbanks on YouTube. He's a good kid.
Tom Gilbanks. Okay. Is he on oral minoxidil as well?
I think he's using topical still. I think he's using 5% topical.
He's doing once a week Avodart.
Once a week Avodart,
right.
And 6 days a week, 1 milligram of finasteride.
And do you think his age has anything to do with it, opposed to our age?
I mean, he looks like he's 40, but I'm just kidding. No, he looks young. He looks like a baby, actually. I don't know. I don't know. Look, to me, less is more always. So I try to avoid as much, I try to kind of do things incrementally. But I understand your position for sure. And, you didn't have a good experience on oral minoxidil. I do understand the potential for, concerns about facial aging. I don't know if it's a reality. The only reality that I can see as far as that is concerned is if you're dealing with a lot of bloat and you're bloated one day and you're not bloated the next day, you could be stretching your skin out to some degree. There's a lot of water retention if you're dealing with that. I don't know about the facial aging stuff we hear about this from topical and kind of skin thinning and stuff like that. Joe claims to have seen this in the practice he was working in. Is that correct, Joe?
Which one? What did I see?
Topical minoxidil and skin thinning, eyes and face. Or scalp.
Yeah. Very anecdotally, not sure 100%, but I've seen cases where patients seem more gaunt, hunchbacked.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Hunchbacked.
Getting a limp. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Joe, we're
the eye. There's a potential eye issue where you develop bags under the eyes, kind of actually a gaunt look in your face, and thinning of the scalp tissue. I have seen that, but it's not 100% sure that it's attributed to that. But a couple patients did say that they noticed it themselves. So hard to say, but yeah, there is something out there that can support that.
James, right? To answer your question, it was from topical, not from oral.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've not heard anything about that with oral.
Okay, you and Spencer are not on even topical minoxidil, correct?
No, I weaned myself off of that years ago, man. Probably.
I was on topical about 30 years ago for maybe 6 weeks, and I realized it was a waste of time early on for me.
Yeah, I don't even want to try it just because of the shed or other issues, and I'd have to quit. I mean,
I'll tell you what. I mean, I thought it was kind of like a Band-Aid from the beginning, and at the time, it was Pharmacia Upjohn, I think, who were making the drug. Mm-hmm. They were sponsors of my show nationally. And I was talking about weaning off their product for like a year, saying that I don't think it's effective anymore. They never said anything, which is kind of funny. But I just didn't want to be on it. I didn't think that it was, I kind of felt that finasteride was probably doing the trick. And it was very difficult for me to just comply. And I was getting scalp irritation. Yeah.
No, I've been doing the same protocol as you for a very, very long time. Now, Spencer, you mentioned that you feel you're shedding a little bit more. I don't know if you're
No, I don't feel like I'm shedding
protein.
any. I'm actually don't think I'm shedding much at all. I definitely see though a change. I have some retrograde alopecia. The nape hair is much finer. It's kind of see-through when it's not washed, and it's a little flyaway where it used to be really thick. The entire back of my scalp is thinner, but it's not necessarily see-through unless I don't wash my hair for a day, or and then it's still, I can comb it and it's okay. But there's definitely a change. So I think it's chalked up to senescent alopecia and to some retrograde.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Exactly. Have you gone as far as like tracking your hair shed just to see if Propecia is still holding its ground? I mean, for the last year, I've literally put a hair catcher in every shampoo. I will literally count the hairs, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I do very
hardcore,
basic.
I'm losing 50 a day.
I do very basic. Well, I'll rub shampoo in my hair, and I'll take my hand and put it with the suds and put it on the shower wall, and that usually will dry, and you'll see if there's any hair there. Now, I have a lot of white hair, so I really have to look for it. It's not bad. It's like I'm not counting because it's not enough to worry about counting at this point. So I feel very fortunate. However, what I do see is much finer hair and shorter hair, even though I'm cutting it much shorter in the back than I used to see. And, because I'm not going through what I would consider to be a real effluvium, I am not willing to jump on any medication right now. So I'm doing my due diligence, doing my research, just trying to do certain things that may make the kind of fibrosis that we know is happening as we get older kind of, mitigate some of that. And I may be able to, if I decide to take it, mitigate it with this particular medication enough where I'd be thrilled if I can keep what I have right now until I'm 65. I mean, I'm 60 in 2 months
look,
now.
I feel you. I'm very looking forward to finding out what this possible new protocol for you is going to be. So I'm losing 50 hairs a day. About 20 of them are smaller, right, thinner. Does that seem normal? That Propecia is still working. Obviously, my serum DHT is 13, but that doesn't mean shit on what's going on in the scalp, right?
Yeah, it is probably still working for you for sure. I mean, you've been doing this for 30 years, brother.
30 years, crown and mid scalp's fine. It's the frontal third in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just starting to say, fuck you, I'm done, right?
Yeah.
I could still push it forward and do the Caesar cut and all that bullshit, but I've never used fibers, hairspray, none of that. But it's pretty depressing.
Of course. You know what's funny? Even at our age, I'm a couple of years older than you. Kids don't realize it makes me laugh when they're like, I'm going to get a hair transplant now because I don't care what I look like or what my hair looks like when I'm 30. This is the prime of my life.
Yeah.
And they have no idea. They're ruining the rest of their lives.
Sandra, I see you trying to help these kids out. They have no fucking clue. None.
Isn't it frightening?
None.
And I try not to be defensive. I just try to be. And a lot of times I'm just like, listen, this account is probably not for you. Go visit my friend Harry over at Bald Cafe. Because that's where these guys are headed.
I'm just waiting for some guy to start coming out with a sticker or some sort of sign that says, I should have listened to Kobren.
Yeah, well, there was a guy that
I'm really concerned.
Go ahead.
I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned about the long-term low-dose oral minoxidil research later on. I mean, we got some data on Propecia, right? We do.
We have a lot of data.
We got some pretty good data, and it's been in my Pez dispenser since day one, back in the early 90s, right? We don't have the data on this low-dose shit. No. Everybody's like, oh, you're full of shit. It's been around. I'm like, no, it hasn't been around taken the way people are taking it now, especially these young guys, right?
Yeah, it was really reserved for men and women who were in their late 30s, early 40s, 50s when it came out for hypertension. And there were physicians that were prescribing oral minoxidil at a lower dose, even when I was young. I chose not to take it.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I was concerned, but there's not a lot of data on it because they were doing it off-label. These guys were cowboys. I mean, it's all off-label, still off-label. These guys were cowboys, and then Rogaine came out, and less doctors were prescribing it, obviously, and they were also prescribing it really not at the same low dose. I mean, like minimum dose was like a 5 mg. So, we don't know what the long-term effects are. I don't know, man. It's funny. These kids are so frightened of finasteride, they look at low-dose oral minoxidil like it's nothing in comparison.
It's insane. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
I would take 2 to 3 milligrams of Propecia a day over oral minoxidil.
I used to take 5 a day. I just upped my dose to 5. 1 day on, 2 days off.
Why would you not just do 1.25 daily, Spence?
Well, I've had a lot of luck
with
intermittent therapy, and my whole theory behind it was that the drug has a relatively short half-life. And I always felt that if I maintained my DHT levels kind of like in a linear, straight line, that I would start to lose, I'd become more, what's the word? Not sensitive. You just used the word earlier. And why can't I think of it? I don't know. I'm going to use desensitized. So essentially, I kind of wanted to keep my body in a situation where it's kind of like it's not a steady lowering of my DHT. So what happens is you take your first dose with 5 milligrams, you lower your DHT by 65, 70%, maybe a little more. And then in about 2 days, your DHT starts to rise a little bit. And then you take your next dose, and then you lower it back down. So your body's really not becoming, used to a steady level of low DHT. So I theorized that I would have a longer, and again, I use the word again, protracted positive experience where I wouldn't become less sensitive to the drug. And I kind of think that's what happened.
When you're talking about sensitivity, did you have any loss of sensitivity downstairs? Is that what you're talking about? That's what I was talking about.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I wouldn't be on it. I like to fuck.
And have you measured your serum DHT? Is it below 15?
I haven't measured it in a long time, but it was. So I decided to avoid that. I'm just like, I'm gonna stop measuring shit. I didn't do it at the beginning, and then I started to do it, and I was like, what's the difference at this point? I feel good. I've been on it for so long, and I'm maintaining my hair for the most part. Listen, this is a sham. It's quasi comb over, paint the back of my head, spray it shut, hope for the best. But
it works.
I'm 60, I mean, it's like no one, unless I tell people what I do, everyone just looks me in the eye. They're never looking at my hairline. As soon as I tell them what I do, the eyes go straight up.
Go straight up, yeah.
That's why sometimes I will say I'm a former, porn person, and then their eyes go down, which is interesting.
and then one eyebrow goes up.
So I couldn't really articulate that well because I could not find the word in my old brain. But essentially, it was my belief that I would be able to have a longer positive experience if I kind of kept my body guessing.
And you've never tried a daily lower dose?
No, I was on a daily higher dose for the first year and a half of my of my experience. And I was on 5 milligrams. Actually, I went all the way up to 7.5 milligrams daily, 8 months into my treatment. Because there was no talk about the dread shed. No one knew anything about this drug. I thought I was losing my hair again. I thought it stopped working. So I'm like, let me take another half a tablet. So I was on 7.5 milligrams a day. Probably I was maybe 27, 28. Didn't even think about sexual side effects. Didn't even enter my mind.
I wonder if going up and down with different DHT levels instead of keeping consistent and level. You might have a positive maybe before you try anything is maybe go to the 1.25. I mean, Joe, you're doing 1.25 daily, right?
What am I doing now? No, right now I'm on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
Just because I've been busy, I actually sometimes change my intake frequency based on how busy I am, how likely it is I'm going to forget to take a dose. So if I'm in a situation where I've got just a lot of stuff going on, I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff done, I might be traveling, I will reduce my intake frequency to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just because it's easier for me to remember. But
right,
it's almost like the colder months, like when there's not much going on, it's daily. Like I'm home, I'm kind of slower, I'm not doing much, and I'll remember to take it every day. And it hasn't changed anything for me.
Have you guys ever noticed more shedding in the summer months opposed to winter?
No,
it's pretty common. I don't think that I notice it, especially living. Where are you on the East Coast, West Coast? You have
no.
He's
I'm
in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, California.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. Yeah. I mean, but it does get kind of relatively cold there. I mean, I've been living out here for so long that it really doesn't. There's hardly any cold days.
You're in Southern California?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't, I don't really experience that.
So your next line of defense is this new vasodilator.
Probably. We'll see. I have to do a little bit more research to feel 100% comfortable. But that may be
very
the
curious,
case.
Spencer. Got me very, very curious.
Yeah, and again, it's not like I'm holding anything close to my vest here for any reason. There's no financial incentive for me. I just don't want people to fuck themselves up.
Well, it's not this RU-485 shit or whatever it's called, right?
No, dude. Come on.
that'd be awesome if it was.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Guess what? Cobren's been bashing RU-5A
Okay, so if that falls through and you don't decide to go that route, would your 1 day a week Avodart be the next line of defense?
You want me to give you the okay too?
No.
He's
I'm
just
not
like Andy.
the other guy. I'm doing it. I'm not like the other guy. You read that guy like a book. I'm doing it. I mean, the shit's coming from Canada. It's on its way.
I would say that.
And I've been on it before. I've been on the shit before. I was on it daily for 2 years.
It's funny. I don't, I don't want to jinx myself, but I don't really have that fear of sexual side effects from these drugs. And maybe because I know I'm not bulletproof. I drink too much Jack Daniels, I'm finished in that department. That's happened. So I guess anything can happen. But
well, you've never been on dutasteride.
No,
so,
I haven't.
I mean,
I haven't.
There's a small difference, but the upside I think outweighs it. Very small. With me, as sensitive as I am, we're talking maybe 15% less sensitivity downstairs, right? But I was on it daily.
Yeah.
I did feel better on it. I did feel better later on in my second year going, every other day or the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like you guys do on the finasteride, right? So it'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. It's on its way, but that's kind of my next thing. And I'm like you said, I'm 2 years behind you, so I'm right there.
Well, listen, man, I wish you the best of luck. I mean, you seem like you have a lot of experience. You come across as an extremely knowledgeable guy. I could tell if you've been around for a long time, you've seen it all, brother. You have seen these poor kids be radicalized online about
hard to watch.
Yeah,
it's hard to watch, and
it's amazing.
And the disrespect on some of them. I mean, I think 80% see what you're saying, but it's to me, it's to the point where it's like, what are these kids going to say to Spencer next if they have no clue? I feel bad for them. I really do.
Yeah, I have to laugh, and when it is sometimes it is frustrating, and sometimes I'm just like, you know what? It's engagement. It helps the account. It helps other people who are smart enough to understand what I'm doing as the account grows from this engagement. So I'll just say thanks for the engagement, or like I said, I'll send them over to Harry, which they never like. They're like, "What are you saying?" You know? But you know, or they'll make fun.
Throw their self-confidence
I
into
have
a
this
spiral.
one video where, you know, the lighting makes my hair darker, and I guess the recessed, you know, the angle makes my hair look more recessed, or it still looks fine to me. I mean, I was 59 when I recorded that, but all these kids are like, "But you're bald."
Taped.
Yeah, you're bald. Like, look at your hairline; it's cooked. I want to shake these kids. I'm like, what do you think you're going to look like at 60? If you're
Yeah,
lucky,
you'd be lucky to have that hair.
yeah, if you're lucky, you can have any hair on your head, let alone combable hair.
Yeah.
And let's not forget
Joe,
about my
you have a lot of
face.
experience.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. And Joe, you have a lot of experience with different doctors. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the United States, choice of doctors out there compared to going outside the country. But for frontal third work, I noticed a video that you put out with who's the guy in Florida? Is it Nussbaum? Nussbaum?
Yeah, he was. I just had him on an interview yesterday. Yeah, Aaron Nussbaum. He's amazing.
Oh, you did? Okay. He's the guy where his dad started the practice, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Bernie. Great guy. Great guy. I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but I just want to say this.
Yeah, because if I were to do it, and people would say you're crazy because it's just the frontal third, but I would probably do one strip, 2,500.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
pretty
If you were a
legit.
subscriber, you'd know.
Yeah, you're not crazy. Listen, I was asked.
I'm just getting caught up. I am a subscriber. I'm a loyal subscriber of both of you guys. I mean,
Right on.
You guys have
Good to
helped
hear
me out over the years just to keep my sanity. But
Look, I was asked to speak at
Right on.
FU.
look, I don't care what it costs.
Is my
I'm
mic
not
on?
comfortable going outside the right. I'm not comfortable going outside the U.S. for a transplant if it gets to that, right?
Listen, I don't, it's interesting. I do think that a lot of American physicians have kind of fallen behind over the years, or they kind of were stuck in their ways for whatever reason, even when it came to the way they evolved their FUE practices. But I also feel really bad for those kids who believe that FUT is no longer a valuable procedure. And honestly, it's funny because I got so much crap from doctors in this country when I wanted them to start trying FUE, when it was a Woods technique. And everyone was essentially saying that, I didn't want to say what they were saying, but they were saying not nice things about me. But my whole thing is I really always believed that FUE surgery was an ancillary procedure. And I have to say, to this day, I think anyone who's serious about hair transplant surgery and wants a long-term, lasting result, you have to have FUT, at least one, maybe
You
two.
have to. No, people don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is because of the demand, not a lot of doctors are specializing in it anymore.
Right.
No,
Very few.
That's what's discouraging, right? It's discouraging. I've seen both. I mean, my first cousin, he's 61, and got a transplant by Sarah Wasserbauer because he lives literally next to her office in Pleasanton, Walnut Creek area. And as you guys pointed out, you nailed it. She's fairly conservative, but I think she'd rather do FUT than FUE just because she's better at it, right? But would not be my choice of maybe an FUT surgery with her, but she definitely advised him at his age that's the way to go, and it turned out decent. It really did. Turned out decent.
Yeah. Well, I look at the current crop of doctors out there, and what Spencer said is really important and true, where U.S. doctors seem to have not just fallen behind a little bit several years back, but also the way that they evolved their practices. It's funny. It's almost like that's in response to how the rest of the world responded to the U.S. being so far advanced comparatively 20 years ago. It's kind of like a back and forth scenario because forever, Europe was terrible.
The
Europe
UK was
and
the
the UK
single most destructive
was
market.
terrible.
The work coming, and I'm talking about some well-known names, like
Yeah.
family teams and just well-known names. I'm talking about some work that it was a disgrace.
Yeah. Yeah.
A disgrace.
Yeah. It was
Worst butchery,
cringeworthy how bad it was.
Yeah.
And in the
What about
U.S.
this guy in
or
Georgia? What about
I'll
this
say
guy in
North
Georgia?
America,
What about
not
this
just
guy-
the U.S., but North America was so far ahead that it was like a feast or famine situation, to take one of Spencer's phrases, where when FUE came along, it was like, aha, now we have a chance. And that's how it worked out. And then the U.S. or North America clinics were so set in their ways. They had so much investment in their infrastructure. It's like trying to turn a aircraft carrier around on a dime. You can't do it. They were set in their ways. They had the investments going. They had their skill sets that they developed over years. So it was slower for them to turn around and improve in response to the rest of the world improving in response to them. So it's, if that made sense at all. But I think that there are some fantastic surgeons in North America. Like some of the best in the world are here. You just don't hear about them because they don't live online. They're busy doing surgery. And their patients don't really find them online, except for, I mean, everyone's found online nowadays, but a lot of these doctors are getting mainly like local business and word of mouth, that kind of stuff.
I got to tell you, Aaron is really I'm not going to say he's a hidden gem because he has a busy practice, but he's really not out there online, which I think, again, we talked about that. I did a video on it, and I got behind the scenes shit from a few doctors who are spending a lot of time online. One in particular.
Yeah.
Because I essentially said, listen, you want an influencer or do you want a surgeon?
Yeah.
Does he have big arms?
Actually, no, that's not him. And he's a sweet guy. He's a sweet guy. He's a good guy. But yeah, but he's not even really the influencer space. I don't think he even has that many followers.
I'm concerned because I have curly, wavy hair, and the transection on a few FUE I would just be really concerned about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this FUT is really kind of a lost art, and the Florida guy seems to be doing it. Nussbaum seems to be doing FUT, right?
Well, he is. And here's the thing. It's not necessarily that it's a lost art. It is a procedure that is just this is really the only field. I mean, cosmetic surgery in general is really sketchy, but it's really the only field that in medicine that where the consumer dictates medicine. There's not a doctor, except for one, who may believe this, but he's crazy in my view. But there's not a doctor worth his salt that truly believes that FUE is the state-of-the-art procedure. Everyone understands the reality of donor dominance, even these young guys. If they picked up a textbook, they know that reality. So the fact that that is not being told to patients, it really bugs me. I have an organization. I have an organization. And these guys will once in a while contact me after they've seen something that I said online. Not necessarily angry, but just kind of like, like a little bit of a question mark in their voice. Like, why would you go there? Why would you say that? Because it's true. It's because it's true. These kids their lives are being destroyed. If someone's going in for 8,000, 10,000 grafts, I don't care how great that mechanic is. Unless all the stars are aligned and somehow this person is able to do extremely well on medication for years, at least 2/3 of those grafts are going to be potentially, in a position where they can miniaturize. That's it. Now, I'm not saying that your sweet spot is 100% durable for the rest of your life, but it has the best chance of being DHT resistant. You know what I mean?
It doesn't fuck up the way your hair feels in the back of your head. I mean, you know, when you run your hair in the back of your head and you got a strip, it still kind of feels the same, right?
Well, the density will feel the same, but it depends. You know, it depends how your scalp remodels. It depends how the incision was made. You know, even in the best hands, there could be a slight, you know, step ladder feeling. You know, kind of like a little bit of a separation there. Even if the scalp, the visible strip is thin, you're changing the integrity of someone's scalp. So it really is up to the healing process. So you may feel something. You may actually see in someone's back of their head, even if you can't see the scar itself, a slight change in hair direction, or just kind of like a shifting over of hair direction that could be noticeable to some people if they're looking closely. But in most cases, at least, you know, one strip, if someone wears their hair at a normal length, it's just a better procedure. Now, who wants a scar in their back of their head, and who wants their head to be cut open? I get that. But if you're going to go down this route, you have to know the reality, the shortcomings, the limitations, and what the surgery is all about. If you want to live the rest of your life with hair and you're going to go a surgical route to get it, then you have to make these concessions in order to make it happen, you know, to make it work well for you in the long term.
Sure.
And these kids are not given that information. I had a guy on TikTok say that there's no doctor or no ethical doctor who would perform that archaic procedure. Just like, all right, good luck. Thanks for the engagement.
Yeah.
Very self-serving.
So anyway, brother, listen, I don't mean to put you to sleep, but obviously I'm very passionate about this. I really think the industry is just so screwed up now. And, you know, I've had doctors come into my
that's
studio.
The problem. I mean, that's the problem. You know, somebody brought up a good point. Getting these, you know, why these North American doctors? Because their techs, you know, the cost of living is so high in the United States that they have a revolving door of technicians, right? You don't know what you're going to get, right? Because people kind of move on. In other countries, if you even have a job, you know, those techs have probably been there for a very, very long time. You know. It's a decent point, but I did some research on the guy in Florida, this Nussbaum guy. It seems like he's got the same crew.
I would say that
I
would say that's not necessarily the case. What you said, I would say that, or whoever made that point. The point is that there's turnover everywhere. There's a lot more turnover, in my view, in Europe and in other countries, just based on what I know about the industry. Here, if someone has a good paying job and they feel like they're getting along with the rest of the staff, and if they don't want to move, for instance, they like living where they live, they stick around.
Exactly.
Because they have great benefits and they have a good paying job.
I do see a rise in the growth of the travel tech market.
Oh, it's huge.
Which mimics what's going on in the UK. It's almost impossible to find in the UK a clinic where all of the technicians work only for that clinic. It's almost impossible.
Really?
I know of maybe one or two. Yeah. And it's not nearly that bad in the US, but it is a thing. And it causes problems for the clinic and for the patient of the day if a technician calls in and says, I'm not coming in, where the reason why is because one of their other contractor clinics offered them more money to work for them that day.
Yeah.
I've heard of that happening.
I didn't know
that's a real thing.
That's good. That's good information, Joe.
There's also
that's
a serious
why
hangover effect.
That's why I'm kind of inclined to look to the Florida clinic. This Nussbaum guy. Florida's much less than California as far as the cost of living, but seems like a very legitimate practice. Like you said, Spencer, kind of a hidden gem. This guy.
Well, he just has a great attitude.
Him about 3 months ago.
He learned how to do it the right way. They kept the same infrastructure, so I'm sure some of the techs were actually his dad's techs. I'm not talking about 50 years ago, but over the years, and they they maintained the exact same infrastructure and improved on it. So they have all the stereo microscopes lined up. They have the techs looking whether they're doing FUE or FUT. They're looking at these graphs. Nussbaum knows exactly what he's putting into your scalp. And I heard Joe's show yesterday, and it's something that I don't talk about much, but I have brought it up. There are different calibers of hair, even in one hair grafts or when you cut the size one hairs. And a lot of times, especially when you take a strip, it is easier for physicians to check everything out under basically three-dimensional and have their technicians utilize the grafts that are further towards your ear, like around, towards your temporal points, that naturally grow finer, and utilize those for the hairline. And a lot of patients, they have no idea that this is a possibility. And most doctors who are just starting out or who have even been in the field for 5 or 10 years, they don't get that nuance. So you see all these guys throwing in really, much larger, hair shaft diameter, even in singles in people's scalps. And it just looks, looks ridiculous. It doesn't need to be done that way. There's much finer hair even within the strip. It doesn't have to be taken from the nape of your neck. So there's a lot of nuance to this surgery that no one fully grasps. And if you're going overseas or if you're just going to a chop shop here in the U.S., which is, I'm right here in Beverly Hills. There's got to be 12 now hair transplant clinics, and they're not even clinics. There's one real guy very close to me, Mark Dower, and there's the Armani guys. But most of the stuff being performed here is either out of a strip mall or the back of a plastic surgeon's office or a cosmetic surgeon's office. And all using traveling techs, all using turnkey devices. And it's basically plug and play. They remove grafts and they implant them. That's it. There's no nuance. It's a mess, man.
Yeah, this guy is this Mohebi guy on your guys' list or no?
He's not. He was.
He's doing this direct implantation. I don't think I would do that.
No, it's actually. I have to say that may be. It's stick in place. And that's a really good technique that's been used for a very long time.
Good technique for survival, but I mean, as far as angling, you're taking. If I'm laying down and he's taking out from the back and putting angulation's got to be everything. Right?
Well, yeah, they actually in many cases you're creating the angle while you're inserting the graft simultaneously. So it really has nothing. It has nothing to do with that. DHI has nothing to do. It's not about it may be marketed to some degree that you're keeping the grafts. You're not keeping the graft out of the body as long, but really, I think that if it's done correctly, it gives the physician a lot more control.
And I also understand that when you're extracting and then implanting quickly afterward, it doesn't mean that you're making the incision while you're placing the graft. You can also have pre-made incisions, which
that's true.
If they're done properly, actually dictate the angle and direction that the graft will be placed in. They can't go in any other way. So if you have the doctor making the incisions,
oh, I see. Okay,
and then the technicians are being, loading the pens or whatever they're using for their process, they're placing those using dull implanters, not sharp implanters, into pre-existing sites made by the doctor.
Yeah, in some cases,
if you do it right,
a lot of these guys are doing stick in place though with these pens now. But people do that. I don't know exactly what Mohebi is doing at this point, but
no idea.
I can say that
why is he not on your list now? Why is he not on your list?
I would say that if I'm going to be completely candid, it was a marketing issue. That's all I'm going to say.
I see.
He has produced a lot of good work over the years. He learned how to do it correctly. He trained under Bill Rassman at NHI. When he initially applied to the organization, I rejected him because I felt that he just didn't have enough time on tissue on his own after he left Bill. And then he came back a few years later. We brought him on board, and then it was like a marketing issue. And I just was like, all right, you know what? I kind of felt like I dodged a bullet there as things evolved, if you know what I mean. Or maybe I think certain things as far as the marketing may have devolved. But it came down to marketing. It came down to me and him, me speaking to the marketing people, and us having that last conversation before we separated. I have to be a little cryptic.
So as far as talent goes, you think he's up there with Nussbaum, or
no, I don't. I do not actually. If I'm going to be honest,
I don't either.
I think Nussbaum is a rare breed as far as his breadth of knowledge.
He's got a great fucking hairline, and he's on dutasteride. I am shocked he is on dutasteride instead of Propecia. He doesn't. I don't even think he's at the point where he needs Propecia.
Well, he's been balding. His dad has transplants, and they all started balding. Young in the family, so he was put on medication at an early age.
He's held the ground very well.
Yeah, I mean I don't even know if he's 40 yet. Maybe he is 40, something like that.
No, he's not. He's still in his 30s. I think he's probably 37, 38.
That's another thing I like about him. You got to be good. To be younger in this field, and for what it takes, to me, he's in the sweet spot, right? He's right there in the sweet spot, in my opinion.
He's also
a long career.
He's also a good person, and that's rare.
Yeah,
that's rare.
Yeah, he seems legit. He really does. I enjoy watching you guys talk to him. I look forward to seeing the interview you had with him. What was the subject, Joe?
Hair.
Oh, all kinds of subjects. Just shooting the shit, answering questions.
But usually you have
there's never anything.
Usually it's
Yeah, I just make it up. I don't know. Like I don't know what we're going to talk about because
what's the name,
before.
What's the name of this
before the show? Because we haven't planned it. This thing
Spencer,
on?
you said this guy Tim online. He's on the 1 a week Avidart protocol. Before
you can follow him on Instagram. I follow him, so you can find him. It's Tom Gilbanks on Instagram.
Oh, Gilbanks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good kid.
I didn't mean to take up so much time. Always good to chat.
Yeah, listen, it's a pleasure, man, and thank you. And I'm glad you're still doing well, and hopefully, let us know how you do on dutasteride.
I'm gonna try it, but I'm right where you're at. I'm literally where you're at. So I've held the ground, but I'm seeing some changes, and I don't know. It's as we get older, right? It is what it is, but.
Mm-hmm.
I've done everything I can to stay away from a hair transplant. I'll give this once a week dutasteride, and if I have positive effects, maybe go twice a week, like you said earlier, Spencer, and I'll keep you guys informed.
Please do.
God bless both of you, and appreciate everything you do again, and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
All right, brother. You take care. Good talking to you.
You too.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Joe, do you want to take one more call before we call it a night?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Can you guess who it is?
Say it again. Maybe I'll guess.
Guess it.
Oh, man. Your phone is fucked up.
Okay, let's play Guess That Guess. I'm about
our boy from Arizona.
There you go, Steve from Arizona. No.
Our boy from Arizona on speakerphone.
No, I'm not on speakerphone. I actually have you on my headphones. But anyway, I do have some stuff with the hair. So I switched medication, added in, and I had a little bit of a side effect. But I wanted to. So the last time I called in, I know you kept razzing me, but I actually only was on 2 beers. That was it. I just don't drink, so it was. That's true, man. But outside of that,
that's even more embarrassing. You should have said that you were loaded.
No, I know, right? Embarrassed.
I'm just kidding.
No.
I don't. Honestly, I don't even remember that.
I didn't sound that bad. No, but
I don't remember.
when I was also thinking that, and I remember saying this to you guys years before too, that like having, and I'm not talking about just me, whoever, but having like someone or people on who talked about like their personal life, you know, to a degree, no one's going to, you know, open everything up, but like to a degree, some lighter stuff essentially. I don't think it would be a bad thing for the show. I mean, I really think you guys can get traction by doing something like that. And that was part of kind of why I was getting into that too. It was just kind of like, I don't know. I thought it would be good for the show. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. If you guys don't, then, hey, it was just an idea. But anyways.
I don't even know what's going on here.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah, I don't even know
it was months ago. I think it was like, what was it? February. I called in. Remember I said, I was talking about my girl who we had broken up, and like there were some things I had regretted, and I was like, gosh, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was just talking about stuff like that.
All right. Well, it must have gone well because I don't think I've gotten any complaints, so don't worry about it.
No, I'm not worried about it. Like I was saying, I was thinking that would be good for your show to get traction. Not to say you can't talk about the hair stuff. That's why.
Listen, I like it too, but the problem is Joe doesn't really pay attention, so it's hard to keep the conversation like that going. So it's got to be hair related, otherwise he's out.
That's how you get
one. Were you saying that we should? Were you saying that we should talk more about our personal lives, or let people call in and talk about their personal lives?
Joe is a good driver on the driveway. That's all I'm saying.
You could do either one. You could talk about your own, or you could have people call in, a little bit of both. I do think that would like get a lot more eyeballs. I really do. I mean, if you guys don't, hey, we talk about the hair, but I do have some stuff to actually go over. So,
all right,
I started September 2019, just finasteride. I'd say 2 or 3 years into it. I went to half a pill a day. And it was just generic finasteride from Costco. I think it's the Ascend brand that they carry, at least in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to half a pill a day. And I never, I didn't see any drop off. I got a little lazy. I went to a full pill every other day. Same deal. I never saw any drop off, anything like that. And I would notice too, because I'm pretty on top of it. And because I have long hair now, really long. So I comb it back essentially. I would see it because it's combed back too. You know what I mean? I'm not you play a little cover up and swoop it over or something. You might not notice it if you're not on top of it. So what I did was I kept doing that until I was down to kind of a small amount. I didn't have time to fool around and go to a doctor and ask him, hey, I'm thinking about getting on oral minoxidil, because I have been, again, just to brush you guys up in case you didn't remember, I've still kept on topical minoxidil for years. I mean, it was basically since the beginning. I think I started.
Yeah, you were stuck on it.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it twice a day. I was doing that whole deal. And then I went down to once a day. And I don't even measure it out. I was more of doing it, kind of hedging against a effluvium.
Right.
But also because it does make your hair look thicker, once you dry it out and kind of frizz your hair a little bit and comb it, it makes it look a little bit more dense. So I stopped taking that and I did the Hims deal. Because like I said, I didn't want to go to a doctor and try to convince them, because a lot of them still will not prescribe you oral minoxidil. Won't do it. I tried. And so I was like, okay, fair enough. So I just did the Hims thing. I was like, whatever. I think it was $100 and, they give you the one-time deal to get you on there. So it was $130 or something like that. And I'm not somebody who's paranoid or really thinking about getting.
Now, when you say you did the Hims deal, you just did Hims oral minoxidil, or you did their combination mashup, finasteride, minoxidil, and Viagra?
So, yeah, you answer some questions, and then they basically prescribe it to everybody who's even half interested. They call it the hair mashup or something like that. So
Sweet
it was about going on 3 weeks ago, right? It's so the pill is the same as anybody else who's saying.
I don't want to chastise you, but how long have you been watching this program? Long time.
Oh, how long? Like 2019 was the first time. I don't listen intently all the time, but when I call in,
well, maybe you
other
should.
times where I will kind of like
me.
In, pop out.
Yeah, kind of like Joe. Yeah.
There you go. Well, go ahead and chat that. I want to know the reasoning. Go ahead.
No, so I mean, if you're listening to this broadcast, you'll know that the one thing you do not want to do, in my view, is take any of these compounded mashup products. If you're going to take a medication, if you've been on a medication for a certain amount of time, you want to stick to that medication. If you decide to add something to your regimen, then you can add it, but you don't want to get off another medication in order to add it. Unless, if you want to slowly titrate off of topical as you're adding oral minoxidil, that's reasonable. You're still going to go through shit anyway to some degree. But as far as like completely changing everything you're taking to make it more convenient, because that's what these companies are selling you, it's never a good idea. And to me, it's just sad that these companies are willing to do this to people. So that's my take.
Yeah, and I was a little. Yeah. There you go. I was a little apprehensive about it, and I was kind of thinking about it a little bit. I know, most of these generic finasterides are going to be reasonably close. I'm not saying once in a blue moon somebody doesn't have some adverse side effect. I understand that, but the whole point of this was I'm not somebody who's like paranoid about side effects, worrying about them, and then they take a pill and then they start getting them, and it's psychosomatic and all that kind of stuff. I don't, but I believe I did get a side effect, not from the finasteride, but from the minoxidil. So what they prescribe you here, and I really don't care. I mean, I could tell them, because it was only a couple weeks or so ago, I could tell them, oh, hey, I had a side effect, just send me, the regular finasteride, and they would. They wouldn't charge me twice, I'm sure. But nobody wants to get
tell us what happened. We just want to know what happened.
I'm getting on it, all right? I'm talking fast.
He hasn't told us yet?
So, no, I haven't. Keep listening. So the finasteride, they give you 1.2 milligrams. This is per pill, right? And the minoxidil is 3 milligrams. And then they give you some horse shit like biotin. I'm sure you guys have covered it in the show, but
yeah.
And then, nonsense outside of that. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, let me try it. Let me see what's up. So I took, and they give you chewable too, so make it even easier, I suppose. So I took the full pill the first day. This has been like 3 Mondays ago. And the next day, I started feeling on my arms, like my forearms, a little itchy. And I was like, all right. I took the pill. And honestly, I wasn't even thinking about it. So, and I hadn't looked up, I purposely did this. I wasn't, looking up, side effects of minoxidil. I had already known them, but, had been in the background. I didn't want to get too on it because, how psychosomatic goes. So then I took the pill the next day on Tuesday. And then by Tuesday night, my forearms were on a voracious rash. It was rough.
Wow.
And it really bad, itchy as hell. And I think that Wednesday, which would have been 2.5 weeks ago, I took a third full pill. And that was the last one I'd taken. And the rash was unbelievable. It was so itchy. And so then what I did was I took a couple days off. So I didn't take it Thursday or Friday. The rash started going away. It was probably 60% gone. And as of that Saturday, I started taking a half a pill every day. And the rash subsided. It's gone now. There's not even, there was little bumps there for probably about a week afterwards. So it wasn't itchy anymore or nearly as red. And so that went away. But I did get that. And I don't know if this has anything to do with that. If this could be aside from it, because I did look up the side effects later, and I said, "Oh, okay, well, this could be possible. I could be one of these people who get this."
Yeah, I mean, a small percentage of guys, of people, will have an allergic reaction to any medication, but this allergic reaction is more common with this particular drug.
There's another side effect too.
For some reason.
Yeah, there's another side effect too. So I noticed, like, I was working outside, and I got up real quick, and
you're dizzy.
It was like earlier in the morning too, and I got a little out of breath and dizzy. I was like, what I thought of this was like on, maybe I had taken for 2 or 3 days, and I got up real quick, and I was like, I noted in my mind, I still wasn't thinking about the pill. I noted in my mind, I said, I've obviously felt this before, but only when I'm dehydrated and I'm outside for hours and I haven't drank enough water. So I kept note of it. And that kind of continued, man. And it has subsided greatly since then. I, did my, resting anyway. None of these machines you buy are good for walking around. But I did like my resting ECG. It's fine, pulse, 60s, and not picking anything up unless I move around to pick up artifacts. And then do my blood pressure check, at home. That was really good. Like usual, 115 over 75, 60-something pulse. And I did listen to, I kind of caught in when you were talking to the one dude earlier, and you said, like, you could get, like, a lot of bloating in your face or hold a lot of water if you eat, like, shit. Well, that's me. I eat like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been changing things recently, but I eat, like, I'm light. I only weigh, like, 167 because, like, people ask me, like, how do you eat, like, 2 donuts and pizza and all this stuff? I say, because I don't eat other things. That's how. You know what I mean? I count calories on my calculator on my phone every day. But it's still garbage. It's still not good for you, and I know that. And so...
So did you have water retention?
I would say maybe. You know what I mean? It looks like a little bit, and maybe it's just starting to subside now, but that out of breath thing is continuing. It's just subsiding now. I'm 2.5 weeks into it, and cutting the dosage in half. Also, going from 3 milligrams a day of minoxidil to 1.5, and the finasteride, I don't think that made a difference, but it's like 0.6 a day is what it would equate to. But the minoxidil is the thing I believe, which is what I was getting a reaction to, because immediately I got that rash the next day.
Look, I'm not a physician, but I can tell you that there's no doubt in my mind. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a doctor, but you had an allergic reaction, and it's possible that it could be from the drug itself, or it can be from the fillers of these medications. You have to understand these are compounded meds. They put all kinds of things, that inactive ingredients that either they list or they don't list. It depends on the company.
Sure.
You have no effing clue what you're getting from these companies. And I have to say, there's one telehealth company that's a startup that, they are, a lot of these companies are vying for American Hair Loss Association trusted brand status. And we're only giving this status to one company in each category. And I've spoken to a lot of companies, and no one except for one has been willing to provide full transparency both to us and to consumers. So this company hasn't even launched yet. They have an option to work with us, and I don't know if you know what an option is, but kind of want to reserve that opportunity. And part of me is like, honestly, it's the only opportunity that I can give right now anyway, because none of these other companies are being forthright. So to me, I don't want to completely bash all these telehealth companies, but I would never in a million years take any of these products unless I knew exactly where things were sourced. I knew the different how they're compounded. Do they use more than one compounding pharmacy? Do they use compounding pharmacies all over the country? Who are these compounding pharmacies? Have they been sanctioned in any way? Have they had any problems in the past? And the bigger these subscription companies are, the more people who are involved making these products. And usually it's not in one laboratory. Let's just put it that way. So I'm not saying that you screwed up. I'm just saying that I wouldn't take it. Now you're already on it, and if the side is,
I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I completely understand where you're coming from. You guys have always been on brand and really worried about that for whether, for ease of conversation, for whether you should or you shouldn't, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? That's the way you guys feel, and that's okay. But I would figure one of the bigger companies is probably less risky than just, going somewhere like down in Mexico, just trying to get off the, off the shelf.
The bigger, I will tell you that the bigger the company is in this space, and the more money they have, the easier it is for them to figure out ways to circumvent certain regulations. I'm not saying this company does. And the less quality control they're going to have over their products. That's just the nature of the game.
I would say what is likely, it still, I think, travels back to more than likely that and I don't care where I got it from, more than likely now, the minoxidil probably had an adverse side effect.
Yeah, I'd agree.
That's more than likely the bottom line. Even if I went to a doctor and got, Lonatin, the actual, I don't think it would have mattered. It might have. I will reserve a small percentage chance. However, I really do think that I just had an adverse reaction to it. I mean, that rash, man, that thing kicked up hard too. And it took a lot for me not to scratch it.
I'm sure.
It was pretty.
Yeah, I bet.
And it was spreading everywhere. When I was doing the 1 pill a day, and I don't know if it was initial reaction or it's because it was 3 milligrams, but it was spreading. Like, it was starting to go everywhere, and that's when it stopped, and then it immediately died down. Now, let's say brand withstanding, let's say if I got off of this, because it's no big deal, it was a lot of money, I'm sure they would send me just finasteride if I wanted to, and I just went with name brand or whatever, a trusted brand of minoxidil. Let's say if my body could handle it, what is the typical doses that people are generally okay with? I wasn't sure about the 3 milligrams. I know I've heard 2.5 a lot per day. Right now I'm at 1.5.
A lot of people will start out.
A lot of people are taking 10.
And yeah, some people are taking 10.
Wow. I don't think I would be okay with it. With the
Doesn't
10.
sound like you would be.
I would be okay with the 3. But now how about I know that it can, like fluid around the heart, and people can get a little out of breath from the medication.
Yeah.
Is that generally transient, or is it something where it could possibly be that, I mean, obviously there's always a possibility, but whereas sometimes it's not, and then it's just not working.
Sometimes it's not.
You just get off of it.
Sometimes it's not. So, I mean, you really have to, you should see if you can talk to a doctor. I mean, to me, if you're going to be on low-dose oral minoxidil, even more than finasteride, in my view, you need to be monitored. That's why I think these companies are prescribing drugs. You answer basically a questionnaire. You told me about your experience. It wasn't that easy to it wasn't that difficult to acquire. And it's like, good luck. That's it, I don't think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and I did do my levels and everything independently before I started taking that. Like I took my cholesterol. I have done like an exercise-based ECG or EKG, and I've done all that stuff in the last 6 months.
Okay.
So if this persists, which it has been dying off, I will go and do it again. I will anyway eventually. But yeah, that has been my experience on it. I don't know if I have no doubt, but I have little doubt that if I kept up with the full pill every day, I would have had a full body rash and the out of breath from like a squatted position, not from like standing straight up. You know what I mean? Where your blood pressure can change a little bit. You're coming up from like an extended, like you're squatting down for a period of time.
Listen, brother, you definitely had a bad reaction to it. It could be transient. By titrating, you might be able to get to the point where you aren't having any adverse effects. and eventually up your dosage slowly as your body gets used to it. That's a possibility. But these are kind of difficult things, in my view, to do completely on your own. I know millions of guys are doing it on their own now, but I don't necessarily think it's kind of, the best course of action. I'm not a doctor. I want you guys to be as safe as possible. I believe in these medications a lot, but with any medication, I think there needs to be some sort of, due diligence on both ends, the prescriber and,
Sure.
the person who's taking the meds.
Yeah, and that's why I did all that stuff. That's why I had taken my EKG. I had gotten, blood tests, everything else, to see where I'm at. You know what I mean? To make sure I was healthy enough to take something like that. Because if you have blockages or anything like that, this would probably not be a good idea.
Well, listen,
if you're fairly overweight or anything like that.
I'm glad you're alive and you're able to make this phone call, and I'm glad that you got over the rash. I do think, what you're doing now, taking less medication, is smart. Watch it, before you continue. You've only been on it for a short period of time. So, if you're going to discontinue using it, it's probably better sooner rather than later, hair-wise. Consider that. But just kind of watch things, man. Really be hyper-vigilant. And again, I'm not a fan of these these types of compounded meds unless you're working with someone more closely. But I don't know everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I hear you. I remember when I was first calling in a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. And I was just starting. I remember asking, because I was just on, topical, which middling results at best. And I remember asking Joe, and I remember asking you, what did you guys think about the oral minoxidil? I remember you guys saying you didn't like it, at least at the time. This is 2019, 2020. You didn't like it, that you thought that it was, too many adverse side effects possible. Anyway.
I think Joe was a little bit more aggressive on that point than I was. I was like...
Which medication?
Anyway.
Yeah, at the time, in 2019.
Oral minoxidil.
Oh. No, well, my feeling on it, which
specifically,
my feeling on oral minoxidil, which hasn't changed, is I was concerned about the possible cardiac side effects for myself personally.
Yeah.
And it wasn't any more aggressive than that. It's just the off chance. It's a pretty low chance that would be, something would happen that would be, kind of disturbing, I guess. But I don't want to have heart palpitations. I don't want to have, the edema buildup around my heart. Those things can happen.
Yeah.
My view hasn't changed on that. It is what it is. But I'm more likely to consider it.
I thought he asked you if you would take it, and you said, F no. I'm just kidding.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I just remember, I do remember specifically, not that you guys have changed about face. I just remember back then it was more like, and it wasn't just when I asked, because I was listening more around the time. It was more like you guys just as a blanket statement said, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you do it, make sure you go through the doctor. And I know that you guys' opinion has changed somewhat, since then. Still, get under a physician, like you were telling me, but also
that part's never changed. That's the only way you can get it is to get it under the prescription of a doctor. That's not changed at all. Don't self-medicate with something like this. My opinion has softened, yes, because I have been exposed to a lot more information. I have been exposed to a lot more individual cases that doctors have been sharing with me behind the scenes, and some patients I've been talking to. I have softened on that, yes, but I wasn't against it in the least. It was just a cautionary tale of.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just saying. I know you guys' stance has changed a little bit, and I think mine did too a little bit. I was really apprehensive, and I started hearing some decent things and benign things about it, and I'm still taking half a pill a day, just to see how it goes. But I will say also to add into that I wasn't totally thinking about it at the time. Maybe it was in the back of my head that when I was younger, I used to live in the gym. And I wasn't taking anything, but I was a lot bigger than I am now. Instead of being 170, I was like 200, 210.
Oh, wow.
And even 220. And I was like really, really strong, young. Anything you could do to get the rep off, I was, benching almost 400, that type of thing. But I'll tell you, at that weight, and this is in my mid-20s, and I remember telling you guys this, I don't know if it was related to this, but it was just talking about when I would just get up from bed, like say if I was laying down, and I would just like sit up, I would feel a little bit of, what do they call it, angina, you know what I mean, a little bit of tightness in my chest, a little bit of pain. And at that point, I said, you know what? I was about 25, 26. The hell with this shit. This ain't worth it. Like, I'm going to cause damage if I already haven't. And so I cut weight, dropped a lot of weight, started eating a lot better, and got in better shape. Never had anything in that feeling anyway, as far as, like, heart-wise, until taking this pill. And so it's been a short period of time, and I'm feeling better. But at the same time, I am going to go get my levels checked again, and I'm going to do it like a walking EKG as well, and get that monitored pretty soon. And I'm going to see the results, but I'm already thinking I might not be a person for this oral minoxidil.
It's very possible.
Because of those.
It's very possible, and you've had a rare side effect, a relatively rare side effect, and you're experiencing some more common side effects, but they're still on the rare side compared to the majority of people who take the pill.
Still uncommon.
It's not as common. I mean, it's more common than the rash for sure, but it's not. It's still not a common side effect. The most common side effects would be some periorbital edema and maybe some other facial swelling and ankle swelling, maybe hand swelling. That is usually transient. And that's the majority of people who suffer from side effects. Those are the side effects they're dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, that rash I thought it was something else at first, to be honest with you. Because I was working, I was doing something else where I was kind of like on my forearms a little bit for that day. And I thought, okay, maybe, it got abraded a little bit, and I'm feeling it the next day. And then
it's a drug, brother.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm sure you looked it up.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a possible side effect. Listen, we're gonna go. I gotta eat. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get some food. We started late tonight, and I'm starving.
Yeah.
So
all right, hey, no problem, man.
So listen,
just wanted to call in, just throw that in there. Yep.
No, I'm glad that you did, and I think
glad you did. Glad you're feeling better.
I think it's important that people understand this is not innocuous stuff. People who are just like, yeah, just hop on these drugs, and no, these are medications. And it's interesting to me that more people, they're still more afraid of finasteride because of the whole it could affect your dick stuff, and they're not as concerned about these possible cardiac issues and other adverse events that could happen from taking what was once a low blood pressure or high blood pressure medication. Yes, it's been around forever. It has a very good safety profile. But honestly, if you compare the two, finasteride has a much longer safety track record and a better safety profile overall than this drug. Yeah. But it's kind of like kids think it's the opposite. So none of this is innocuous. You're putting medication in your body. And to me, less is always more. And I am a fan of knowing where these meds come from. I may be overcautious, but, that's what I would tell my kid or anybody. So, all right, brother?
There you
go. Hey, sounds good, man. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Get you guys' opinion a little bit, but also just, I know it is what it is, but, not that many people who are listening and taking it, but just in case anybody has gotten on or seasons in the future, might be able to get something out of it.
No, listen, it's a great call.
That was good, though, man.
I appreciate it, man. Good luck. Let us know. Call us next week or whenever. And let me know how you're doing, what you decide to do.
Yeah.
Yep, will do.
All right. Take care.
All right, guys. You guys
Bye-bye.
take it easy. All right, see you.
Take care. Okay, we pulled that out. Still did a solid 2 hours. It's good.
I am starving. I'm thinking, like, where do I go? Do I want to go and get a steak? And it always ends up being, there's always some woman.
I just had a steak before the show.
Always some woman with a big purse there that ends up wanting to talk, and I got to buy her a drink.
A big purse.
Yeah, in this town, the bigger the purse, the more of a pain in the ass they are.
Yeah, exactly. That's good.
Once a chick is leading with her purse, I got to get out of there, man.
Yeah, beeline. Slowly slide away from the bar.
I don't even know why I live in this town, to tell you the truth. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out and tuning in. Until next time. Well, first of all, follow Joe Tillman at Joe Tillman Official on Instagram, right?
Yep, that's right.
And you can follow me at Spencer Kobren. I'm on TikTok now. I hate even saying that. TikTok now. So you can follow me on TikTok as well. More followers, the better.
I'm on TikTok.
Get this message out there. I just started, it's been 30 days. And man, the animals on this app, it's unbelievable to me.
On TikTok, I'm just Joe Tillman. So full name Joe Tillman on TikTok. So follow me there too. I have a decent little following there.
Yeah, mine's at Spencer Kobren everywhere. So you can follow me there. And just, you guys don't really need it, but it supports what we do. Just to follow and, engage once in a while, push those posts out in the algorithm so that we can get this information out to people. And, so other people don't go out and buy these compounded mashup drugs.
It's bad stuff.
It could be good stuff too. It depends on where you're getting it from. That's the thing. To me, though, I'd rather just, take it separately.
You know what you're doing.
Know where it's coming
You know what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
you don't have to worry about them changing one of the two, or even both.
Yeah.
In the compound.
And if it has biotin in it, come on, people. There's a reason.
What
for
a waste.
That.
Yeah.
Starts with an M.
If you want something that's better than MSM. Better than biotin, take MSM. I'm not a doctor, but it's not a prescription. It's just an over-the-counter supplement. It'll make your hair grow faster, makes your nails grow faster, makes your skin better. I take 4,000 micrograms a day.
Look how youthful he is.
Exactly.
All right, guys. And I saw Dr. Ken Anderson in the room. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Anderson. And until next time, guys, be strong. God bless. And thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.